So in this video we are back at it again with part 2 of the restaurant landing page tutorial. So in the last video we left off with the menu section. So we have yet to make the menu section. We finished with the hero section of our page where we have a video background, a button to make a reservation, which will end up leading to the bottom of our page later. And we have our navigation bar with links and our little logo here. So let's go ahead and get started with creating the menu section. So for this, we just have our section ID of menu. So we're going to, within this menu, we're going to create a few things. And the first is going to be a menu container. So we're going to create a div with an ID of menu container. And then in here, we're going to put an h1 element with a class of, we'll call this one menu section title. And this is just going to be the title of this section. So it's going to be some larger text that appears above our actual menu. And let's see, can't forget VS Code has auto closing tags. Very handy. A little equal sign there. Alrighty, so we have our menu there. We have our menu title, and underneath this, we're just going to put the actual menu. So we'll make another div, and we'll give this a class of, we'll just say menu restaurant, and that won't get confusing at all. So we'll create a link, and we'll give this a class of menu title. Just fix that h1 class title there real quick. Anyway, so yeah, we're making our link, and we're going to give it a class of menu title. And the link destination is going to be nothing. We do want it to be a link, though. This is pretty much in the event that I wanted to add pages for each menu item in the future, or maybe a link to a picture, or something like that. But we're just going to start. We're just going to start with it being a link. I think that'll help future-proof it a little bit. Not that it would be too much work to add it in afterwards. So anyway, we have our big cheesy pizza, and we're going to make this. I think we're going to make this expensive. We're going to make an expensive pizza place here. And this is going to be the menu price. So we'll make the class menu price, and I'm thinking $21 is going to start out the cheapest pizza. All right. And then we'll close up that div there. And then we have another menu item. So for that, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Just going to go ahead and copy and paste each little menu item. Oops. I want to make sure we get the whole thing here. Alrighty. So I'll make 3 menu items, 4 menu items, and let's just save that and have a gander what it looks like so far with no styles. So as we can see, we have our links and our prices, and we have our lovely H1 text here, but it looks like crap. Let's fix it up a little. Let's fix up the style of our menu section here. So let's go over to our style.css here, and this is where we're going to, let's see, we're going to start off with, let's see, where am I here? All right, we're going to start off with our menu ID here. So this is going to be the pretty much that whole page, that whole section, and we're going to give it a class. We're going to give it a display flex property here, and we're going to vertically align our items. So align items center, we'll do that. Then we'll horizontally align our items with justify content centered. That's why you have to have display set to flex, so you can do that. Very important. And we'll give it a little bit of padding here. And let's see, let's set the text align to center too, so the text is not goofy looking there. And now we're going to set the height of this whole section to be 100% of the screen. So just like our first section, the hero section, where we have the pizza background, we set that to 100 VH, so it takes up the whole screen. And we want each section pretty much to take up a whole screen. So I'm going to set the min height to 100 VH on each one here. Now we're going to add a background. Let's see, we're going to add a background. We want that brick picture. So let's go ahead and add that. And in our case, I think that should just be bricks. There we go, bricks.jpg. And there we go. Let's save that and let's see what we're working with so far. There we go. So as you can see, we have our nice brick background, very Italian, very pizzeria style. But this doesn't look too good. This doesn't look too good at all. So let's give a little character to that background. Let's set a linear gradient to be over that picture. So we're going to make a linear gradient here. And it's going to be an RGBA value. So we're going to start off 0, 0, 0. So that should be an alpha value of 0.6. So that should give us a little something to work with. And let's just make it a little bit darker. So we're going to have it start on the top, kind of light, and then we want it to go to a little bit darker color. So we'll see 0.9 here. And then we just go to our URL of the bricks.jpg. That should work fine. And let's see. We want to fix up our background image, though, a little bit. We want to make sure that it doesn't move. So we want to say background attachment fixed. And we also want it to cover the whole screen, pretty much. So we want to say background size cover. Background size cover. And we don't want the image to repeat. So we're going to say background repeat, no repeat. There we go. And let's just have a look at that looks like. So there we go. So we can see that looks a lot better. Goes with the character, the feel, design, the rest of the page so far. Much darker vibe we're going for. And as we can see, that little linear gradient makes it so the top is lighter and it's just kind of fading away into darkness there. So that's pretty cool. And we'll go ahead and we'll start styling the actual menu here. Actual menu. So let's see, what was that? It was going to be menu container. It looks like ID menu container. So that's what we're going to target here next. Menu container. And we're going to give it a background color of, let's see, what's that nice yellowish that I had. Let me find this color here. Let's see. Here we go. So it's sort of a yellowish beige that I've got here. So we're just going to drop that right in here. And then we're going to set the kind of a blur. So we can sort of see the background through it, but it's kind of blurry, like sort of a glass effect. So to do that, we set backdrop filter, blur, to 5 pixels. So that'll give us a little blur, not too much. And we'll set a padding here, give it 5 rem. And margin auto. So this will kind of put our whole element in the middle of the page. It's a nice quick way to center. Just give it margin auto. And then we'll set the justify content to center as well. So we'll center our child elements horizontally there. And let's just see what that looks like so far. So there we have it. Nice little blur effect. You can kind of see the background, but not quite. And we are centered vertically and horizontally there. Easy peasy. So we're all done styling our menu container. So let's get down to our menu section next. So that was menu section title. So let's see, menu section title. Let's give the just the menu section class a little bit of padding. We'll just say we'll say 10 rem for that. Nice amount of padding there. And then we'll target our menu section title. And we'll give that a little padding as well. It's going to be 3 rem there. And we'll make sure the color is white. And we'll give it a little text shadow. What's that text shadow I had? With the other ones, it was with the other heading. Just want to have a similar text shadow. Pixels, 5 pixels, 33 pixels. So I think that's a bit much. I think we'll set a little different shadow here. Maybe 2 pixels. 2 pixels, 3 pixels, and we won't blur it up to 33. I think we'll go 18 pixels there. So a little less blur because it's a little smaller. It's a little smaller title, so we don't want as big of a shadow there. And then we'll do our. Let's see which one's next. Menu. Yeah, we'll do the menu restaurant class here. So we'll style that. Menu restaurant. And for this one, we're just going to set. We're going to set some padding left. Actually, let's set the color. Let's make it black here first. And then we'll give it a little padding left. 3 rem. We'll set the font size here. Font size, that is, not family. And we'll set that to 1, maybe slightly bigger, 1.1 EM there. So we'll make it slightly bigger, just a little. Then we'll set the font style. I'd like italic here. We'll go ahead and make it italic. And we'll set the width to 50%. Now this is important to get that, that kind of column effect that we're going to end up with. And then we're going to float it left. So with this, we're not using Flexbox for this. We're just using a float. You'll see how this works in just a second. Give it a position of relative. There we go, and let's see how that looks. So there we go. So we have our food and then the price, and they're in these nice little columns here. And we'll see what happens when we get a little smaller. So that's not really good. I want it to be just one item per row here when we're under a certain screen size. Otherwise, it'll get a little cramped. So let's fix that up. Let's add a little responsiveness. So for this, I'm actually just going to use a simple media query. So media queries are pretty useful. So for that, we're going to say @media and a max width of, let's say 900 pixels. So that should be, most phones and stuff will fall underneath. They'll fall under that. So then we'll target our menu/restaurant class. And we'll say width, instead of 50%, we want it to be 100%. So when we're on mobile, we want it to take up the whole width of the container. And we want it to be flex, so we'll say display flex, and flex direction column. So this pretty much changes, it does exactly what we're intending here. We want to go from showing both columns on mobile to simply showing one. So let's see if I can switch apps here. And let's see if that worked. There we go. So we see once we get to a certain screen size, that we get 1 item per row as opposed to 2. And then once we're back on desktop, we get 2 items. So pretty cool. And forgive me for my computer being quite slow while I'm screen recording. do need to find a better screen recording solution here. But anyway, so one thing I noticed when we went to mobile there is that the padding is a little too much. It kind of squeezes our title, kind of squeezes things a little bit too much. So we're gonna target some other items here in the media query. We're gonna target the section, and we're going to give that a padding of 3 rem. So we're toning down the padding a little bit there. And then we're going to target our menu container, which is actually going to be an ID. So menu container. And then we're going to change the width. We're going to stretch it out a little bit. I'm going to say 98%, almost the full width of the container. So that should make it look a little bit nicer on mobile. And then we're going to tone the padding down to 1 rem as well. And then we're free to close up that media query there. So if we save it and have a look now, should be a little nicer effect, so it doesn't squeeze all of our text quite as much. There we go. So it looks a little better on mobile. So let's go ahead and finish creating our menu here. I have filled in, just because this is pretty time consuming, all of the menu items here, and we end up with a, let's see, let me open my server back up here. So we end up with a filled out menu here. Now we're just going to go ahead and style this. So we have the name of our food on the left and the price on the right, and they're in 2 responsive columns. So we'll go ahead and start styling these here. So as you can see, I've added this span class clear fix to all of these, because after a little troubleshooting, I was running into a problem where the text would be, the price would be slightly higher, and it would just look kind of weird. So I'll just explain the fix I came across for that. Just to put everything here, the food title and the price, inside of this span. So this is going to be a whole span. Each row here is just going to be a span. So let's take a look at the CSS and start styling these. Start styling these columns. So we're going to pick up right here after our media query, and we're going to target 2 classes that we've created here: the menu restaurant class and also the menu line class, which we're not going to be able to see, but that's going to create kind of an invisible line between our item and the price. So we're just going to give this a absolute positioning. And we're going to position it off of the bottom by 6 pixels. And we're going to give it a, let's see, a margin. Actually, let's give it a little margin here. Margin left, 0.6. Let's go 0.6 rem here. And then also a margin right of the same thing, 0.6 rem. And then we're going to go ahead and target our, now we're going to target menu restaurant once again, but we're going to give it different classes than we wanted menu line to have. So we're going to target, we're also going to target menu price here, because we want these 2 classes to share these attributes. We're going to target menu price as well, and we're just going to set the font weight here to 600. And we're going to make sure that this is also absolutely positioned. And then we want these to be 0 from the right and 0 from the top. And now this part, let's see, let's have a look at what everything looks like so far, because it's pretty ugly. So everything's kind of just stuck to the corner there. So let's go ahead and fix that. Okay, so targeting the span, we're just going to give it a font size of 1.2 EM. And now the most important part to get this whole menu working properly, we're going to target menu restaurant again, but we're going to target the clear fix here. And we're going to give this a position of relative positioning. And we're going to make the display block. That pretty much fixes up our menu. And the next section is going to be Anyway, so that's where I'm going to leave you guys. In the next video, we are going to do the events section of our restaurant landing page. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, comment if you have any questions, and if you subscribe, that would really help me out. But anyway, I will see you in the next video.